Hi. Well, welcome to another day of our ABCs of health. So, this has been fun. It's super exciting. And today we're talking about the letter F. So, F, I chose to talk about fat loss. Now, there's a lot that can be said about fat loss, and I chose this for the letter F because this is something that is so talked about in the diet and fitness and health industries. And I wanted to address this a little bit because I have a few views on this that might be a bit new for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to touch on is this, that you are more than your weight. Your health is more than your weight. We get this from culture, but we can't even say that this is something new and that this only happens now because throughout history, we see this in all sorts of different cultures. What is considered healthy changes. What is considered healthy and beautiful and desirable goes from slimmer and leaner to heavier or somewhere in the more muscular or more muscular or less muscular. All of this changes with the cultural moment, with time, and whatever actual culture you're living in. And we tend to think that that idea somehow defines us and that that's somehow important to who we are as people. We buy into the belief that this interferes with our character. So the first thing I want to tell you is that this is not true. You are not your weight. We are not our shape. We are not our size. We are not our weight. This is all just a vessel. This is a shell that we live in. Now, I absolutely believe that we have to be the best of our ability to take care of this body that we have. We need to nurture it well. We need to keep it functioning as best we can. But please, please, please remember that you are not your size. So that being said, we go on to the second part that I want to address. Most of the things that we see in the health industry, especially in the nutrition and fitness industry, is about weight loss. Now, all these transformation photos are amazing. And don't get me wrong, I love transformation photos. I enjoy posting them. I take my own photos consistently for progress. I've hit some big goals in my fitness and my health, and I have big goals for the future. But the transformation is just a moment. It's a before and after. And one thing that transformation is not the goal. And most of the time, the transformation has to do with fat loss, with going down a certain amount of dress sizes, increasing a certain amount of muscle, looking a certain way. And all that is amazing, and transformations are great. But fat loss itself, it's not about reaching that specific point or that specific number. That should not be the goal. The goal is to get somewhere where you want to get and stay there. Just losing it, that's not the goal. So getting at a certain weight or losing a certain amount of fat may be something that you want to do or need to do, but that should not be your end goal. Your end goal is to sustain whatever it is that you wanted to reach. And that is where so many of us fall short. That is where everyone who yo-yo diets gets stuck. That is the moment where the frustration comes on when you go on the scale and your weight increased a kilogram or 2 pounds and you suddenly freak out when you're not losing weight every single week. There's this idea that's been ingrained in us in this diet culture that we have to be losing a pound, which is half a kilogram, every week. Now, come on. Honestly, if you spend your whole life losing a pound a week, you would wither away. Your body is not meant to lose weight every single week for the rest of your life. Just no. Your body is meant to be healthy. Your body is meant to support you. So this idea of fat loss, that yes, you may need to want or lose, you may want to or need to lose some fat, but that should not be your end goal. So when I talk about fat loss, if nothing else, I want you to think of this. Fat loss is not your final goal. Health is. The pursuit of health and the pursuit of fitness is more important than the endless pursuit of losing fat, because what happens is that when your goal is simply to lose fat, you are going to fall for every quick fix. You're going to believe in every magic diet. You're going to fall for every promise. You are going to spend a lot of money because somewhere it says that if you just do this for a week or 20 days or 60 days or whatever it is, you'll get what you want. Don't fall into the trap of believing that that is your solution. Yes, you might go all in and do this for a little bit, but if you don't create the habits that will sustain that fat loss, you're going to go back where you started, or worse. than you started. Because if you've ever yo-yo dieted, you know this. If you've been around this industry for a while, you know this. If you have bought different supplements, if you bought different pills, if you did any of the things, you will know what I'm talking about. Maybe you reached a goal, and after doing all of these things to reach the goal and you're there, you just stopped. And that's my point. The goal should not be to lose fat. The goal should be to become healthy. When you change your habits, when you change your mentality, when you change what you do day in and day out, that will lead to the fat loss that you're looking for. So the first thing you need to do for fat loss, the most important thing that you need to do to start losing body fat, is to understand that that is not actually your goal. Your goal is to be the person and have the lifestyle that can sustain that fat loss. Because here's something very important, don't miss this. The same things that you have to do to get to a certain weight or lose a certain amount of fat or gain a certain amount of muscle, you have to do that to maintain whatever you reached. So imagine that you go on this crazy restrictive diet and you cut out a food group, or you spend dollars upon dollars a week on supplements and pills and whatever it is to get to that point. Great. Are you willing to keep doing this? Do you see yourself living this way every day for the rest of your life? If you don't, it's not going to be sustained. You're simply going to go backwards. You're going to lose whatever progress you achieved because you can't keep it up. So the first thing I want you to remember is that it starts in your mind. You have to realize that it's not your job to feed the diet industry. It's not your job to be a slave of this concept that you constantly need to be losing weight. Your goal in health should be to be healthy and fit for a lifetime so that you can live the life that you want to live, so that you can enjoy the things that you want to enjoy, so that you can do the things that you want to do, so that you can age well. That's the goal. The goal is what comes because you are healthy and fit. The goal is bigger than just to lose weight. So that's the first thing you need to remember. Whatever you do, however you take care of your health, that is something that you need to remember. Create the habits to sustain this, because it may be fine to do something for a week or 2 or 3, but if it's not something that you're going to carry on, it's no use doing these amazing things for 3 weeks to just go and undo it and binge for the next 3. Your body will reflect what you do with it and what you put into it. So if you are moving your body, if you are working your muscles, if you are taking care of yourself physically so that your body is in good enough shape to sustain you to do what you want, that will show up on the outside. Yes, we want to improve in our fitness, but also we want an easier day-to-day life. What about when you travel, being able to enjoy your trip and do all those fun things? And what about picking up your kids with more ease, or playing with them, or hauling in the groceries, carrying a box? I don't know, so many things. When your body is in good physical shape, you're able to do things with more ease. And also, when your body is in better physical shape, you are not dealing with chronic pain, you're not dealing with chronic fatigue. There are a host of issues that you don't have to deal with when you start investing in keeping your body in better shape and eating better. The other side of it is that your body reflects what you do with it, but also what you put into it. So taking care of what you eat is essential to reach whatever weight you desire to reach and to maintain that weight and have a healthy life. It's important to pay attention to your food. Now, you need to watch what you're eating. You can't expect to just eat a bunch of crap all the time and then have your body respond super well. That's just not how it happens. Food reacts in our body. It signals things in our body. So we need to remember that food is more than just the calories that it has. Food is an amazing information that goes through our body and interferes with everything. Now, specifically talking about fat loss, there's only one thing that is going to lead to fat loss, and that is a calorie deficit. What this means is simply that to lose fat, your body has to use more calories than you actually consume. It really is that simple. I will tell you up front that you're going to find many people saying all kinds of things. things like counting calories doesn't work, or saying that you have to eliminate a certain food group if you want to lose fat, and all that stuff. And all that is nonsense. The fact is, however you decide to do this, and on a side note, there are 3 major ways to do this. Every diet falls under one of them. You have to control this balance. Your body has to use more energy than it is taking in. Now, this has already gone pretty long, and I don't have time to get into all the particulars about this, but the point here is you don't have to starve yourself. You can probably eat more than most fitness apps, and certainly more than the fad diets would have you believe. If you are trying to lose fat, you need to be at a calorie deficit, and the easiest way to start this is to eat better food. I'm not saying that you can never have sugar, or I'm not saying that you should cut carbs. We've talked about this on letter C. Go check it out. Whatever it is that you want. This is your life. There are no rules. I'm not telling you that there are rules. This is a choice. This is your choice. What I can say is that the only way your body is going to lose fat is if you eat less than your body is using. So for fat loss, your body doesn't really care where the calories come from. From a health and performance perspective, it matters a lot. The quality of your calories interferes with your health. So many people lose weight on these diets that just suck the joy out of them, but they can't live like that. So all the weight comes back. You need to figure out what works for you to keep your calorie consumption below what your body uses when you are on a weight loss journey. And then you're going to figure out how to keep your calories at a balance to keep that loss, to sustain that loss and not go back. So counting calories works. Getting more specific to macros, it works. Portion control works. Food elimination works, because these are just tools. If you're looking for a place to start, consider this. Make the majority of your food, at least 80% of your diet, of unprocessed or minimally processed foods. So the more real the food, the more nutrition it has. Now, I know I'm packing a lot of information into this little video, so bear with me. So the more real the food, the more nutrition it has. The more nutrition it has, the fuller you feel for longer, and your body has nutrients to actually do something with. So I want to finish with the observation about processed foods. Now, all processed foods get lumped into the same basket, but they are not all the same. When you think of something like butter compared to something like Doritos, yeah, they're both processed, but they're not equally processed. So another example, there's this nut butter mix that I absolutely love. It's just several nuts, and they're just blended together. There's no sugar added, and they're creamed to form a butter. So this is a processed food, and it has a long list of ingredients, but every single ingredient I can actually go and purchase individually. I know what they are, I understand what they are. So this is a processed food, yes, but it's different from, for example, that bag of Doritos, which the list of ingredients are things that I probably couldn't ever have access to. Some things I can't pronounce, and honestly, most things I don't understand. When you think of a processed food, you need to understand that there's a difference. There are levels of processing food. There are foods that are pretty much only man-made, and there are foods that are processed, but they are ingredients that have been processed for convenience or for taste or for a recipe or something like that. So try to eat as much actual food as you can and minimally processed foods. If you do nothing else and just focus on reducing how processed your foods are, if you're a person who eats a lot of processed food, that is going to automatically cut your calories down significantly. And then you can continue on your journey to work on other details. So if you're interested in losing fat, you need to remember these 3 things. Let's get this long video summed up, okay? So number 1, you are not your weight. You are not your size. Number 2, fat loss is not the goal. Habits for maintenance, that's the goal. Number 3, fat loss happens when you eat fewer calories than your body is using. Okay, so that was a huge spiel for today, but You know, this is a huge subject, and we just skimmed the surface today. And as always, if you have any questions, you can talk to me and we will get them answered. There's a lot of unlearning that goes into creating the habits to lose fat and keep it off. There's a lot of relearning that goes into this. So I will absolutely touch back on this again. So please, please don't let the diet industry fool you into thinking that a quick fix is going to get you where you want to go, because deep down you know the truth. You would rather go there at a slower pace and stay there once you get there than get there super quickly and then walk backwards. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following along, and I will see you next week.